up, everybody? Back again, Warp Charge Gaming live on a Sunday night for episode 2 of the Infinity the Game Talk Show. Brought to you by me, George, my good man Brad here, Chris and Zach. And here we are to talk for episode 2 about the wonderful game of Infinity by Corvus Belli. I've been having a great time with the most recent release, N4. I think we've all in general been having a very just positive reflection on the new release. Heck, before we just got started, before we went live, we were talking about power, where the kind of the power sits currently. Vol SC, a popular Infinity content producer, just put out a video. He had done for anybody that watches this, because there's going to be a lot of, I think, new folks that are getting into Infinity right now. And I was hoping to talk a little bit to kind of the general audience of new players in tonight's episode. But first and foremost, people need to know where information is. I remember when I first got started and being like, where's the resources? Corvus Belli's a little different on the way to access their content than what people might be used to. All the way from telling what models what's at your disposal, using the army builder and where's that located. There's now the Infinity Universe versus Infinity Army page and whatnot. And when you get the app on the web store, it says code 1, but it actually does N4. There's little things that you don't just know unless someone helps guide you. And one of those things is the WGC Infinity Facebook page is probably one of the major hubs that people talk about the game.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, I just invited a ton of people there that just got started because what do you know, there's lots of great paint schemes on there to be inspired by, and people ask general questions about the edition that are going to be popularly confusing sometimes. Like what happens when this happens?
Yeah, I generally enjoy the WGC Infinity group more than the forums more often than not, because oftentimes the forums go kind of toxic.
The forums can be great for new players, though, for sure. When you're lacking inspiration on like how do you put 2 and 2 together, I know there's some great pinned faction breakdowns. Usually the ones that are like, what's best in this faction? Those can die pretty quickly.
Yeah, actually, that came up in the Hakazlam forums. The guy who usually does those doesn't have the time to do them anymore. He's asking to unpin them because, of course, they're all moot at this point in time. Everything's changed. The entire game's changed.
Sure.
Those could be very misleading.
Yeah,
they're good starting points, but even then they might be a little misleading. But there's a lot of talk right now, especially in the Hakazlam forum, about where do I go with N4? I've got all these units. What do I do with them? What's kind of the hot stuff? Yeah. There's a lot of conversations going on about that.
Well, let's I love the idea of getting people pointed in the right direction. What do you think are some of the core things? I'll start off. Today I saw our friend was asking, like, he was trying to build into a new faction. He's playing around the army builder. He knows enough to be dangerous, had some demo games, but he's trying to put a list together and not sure where to go. He's like, this profile looks cool, this profile looks cool. Well, I think if you're playing a sectorial, usually a link team is a great place to start. If you're playing a sectorial, that's one of the benefits of taking that versus the vanilla, is that you have the benefit of Harris and core teams and duos, and the core team benefits are extremely powerful. Some say too powerful. We don't know if even the link team mechanics are going to be something evolving. Corvus Belli has said that's kind of a living document right now anyways, right? It's in the appendix. That's another weird thing too to mention, is that there's the core rules, and I still have to kind of Google my way to the appendix. It's not super easy to find. For myself, maybe it is just kind of right there, but it's not as quick to the N4 rule book. But that's where most of the fire team rules are, and some more interesting rules like triangulated fire and things of that nature. But so building what do you guys think? You think that's a reasonable place to start? Is what's going to be your core team, and then is that going to be dedicated around defense or active turn, or both? And I like to suggest looking at wildcard characters as often your active turn, high burst shooter. You guys taught me right away that high damage, low burst weapons are great defensively. And add long range to that. Sniper rifles, missile launchers, and rocket launchers are your primaries. Total reaction bots are another great defensive unit. But I'm going off on a tangent. Besides core teams and defensive arrows and wild cards with high burst, what's another fundamental you think is good to look for? Anybody?
I mean, I would definitely, if you're going to be starting off, I would pick a couple missions to focus on, to build lists around. Generally, all comers lists can be kind of difficult in Infinity. You can pull them off once in a while, but building an all-comers list may not be great for several missions, just because you might need lots of terrain total now, or you may need to defend a area of the board, but you've got a ton of skirmishers and they just die really quick or really easily. So I would definitely pick some missions, and they could be easy ones, but focus on several and just play those over and over again. I think that's the best place to start.
Yeah, I built all comers lists for the campaign, such as Asteroid Blues, mostly because it's a wide variety of missions, and I have select characters that I've built background around. So I just make an all comers list, and I will say from experience that all comers lists are very difficult to do in Infinity. These are special operations missions. Special operations operatives build their kit to the mission that they're designated in. And list building Infinity is very similar. You need to build your list to the mission that you're operating in. If you do that, you'll be starting at a much higher mark than most other lists.
Yeah, I think that's funny because I always am trying to build something that can fight everything. And it's hard for me to, and I definitely think that's the more veteran approach.
Yeah.
Obviously, is to study the mission and play towards it. Funny enough, right now if we're truly playing in 4, then we only really have the core rulebook missions, which is like 4.
Yeah.
One is quadrant control. Two of them are killing only. Annihilation and
Firefight.
Firefight. They're literally.
Yeah, we're in this weird fluid time where people aren't sure that they're using the N4 rules, or if we're using the ITS 11 rules, or are we just waiting? It's very fluid times right now. Very confusing times.
Now, I'm in the habit of just building all comers lists to just test out units under the new rules and new teams. But
yeah, I find myself with a similar I think there's kind of little chunks of your army that do different things.
Yeah.
And they're in every scenario, you typically need certain elements.
Yeah.
You're like, if you're gonna have something that has an active turn presence, then if you have core team capabilities, that's an auto kind of situation. Is you build around a core team. Can you think of a time taking a sectorial where you didn't take a link team? Not really, right? Vanilla only.
JSA is the only time that I've not taken a core link team.
Yeah, you can get away with it there. Now they made the link teams with wild cards just so damn good that you take a Harris at minimum. It doesn't make sense not to.
Yeah.
The Karakuri, and Adomaru, and
I know 2018 Baltimore Brawl, I took a assassin list without a core team. It had a Harris, but it didn't have a core, mostly because it was similar to a list where it was 3 Fides, 3 Farzans, a bunch of infiltrators.
Yeah. So where there's not.
But you need to leverage that core in a sectoral list, because that is one of their strengths. You lose a lot of units.
Totally. So, but I think that we all have things that we go seek. If we were going to start a new faction or jump into checking out what a faction has to offer, we start to look for certain things that they have access to. Mine layer, infiltration, camouflage, and then when you start to look at different profiles for different roles, like an active turn shooter inside of a core team, then I would love to have MSV, so I could ignore mimetism, MSV2 to see through smoke. If I can, I want mimetism myself because I plan to be shot at. And if I can have -6, hell yeah, let's go.
You're looking for the synergies.
Right, so it's good. There's definitely things that we seek out, and part of when you think of defense, maybe it's not always a TR bot, maybe you don't even have access to that, or maybe it's not using a link team, like if you're playing vanilla, so then it becomes maybe some mine layers and some midfield camo tokens that really muck up, because what is defense? Not always, but I think killing is just a bonus in the defense. It's more about taking their orders away.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
Slowing them down and having them do nothing. So even if you don't kill anything, but they've spent half their orders killing something, that's where dogged is another rule that's great for an ARO piece, right? If a piece that you're not afraid for it to die and it's cheap enough to trade, then hell yeah, throw some dogged on there, just to be that much more annoying. Anything like I know that one element of the game that I feel I have yet to grow into and be more skilled with is combat jump, impersonation, those pieces that sneak attack or hi-ya your opponent. I like to think of just like, "What's came out of nowhere and sliced them in the back." So I don't know anything you guys like. Now we have really more limited combat jumps, parachutists. It's not now. There's parachutist deployment is that sexy extra rule we can look for, where you actually, because usually for folks that don't know, parachutist lets you enter on an edge of the board, but outside your enemy deployment zone.
Yep.
A few units now, more than was in 3, can now show up in the deployment zone as well. So that gets tough, especially as a new player trying to get used to facing. Hell, I don't feel good about my defense against those kind of attacks, let alone running one myself. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a big part that can really kind of you learn from failure with that as a new player. You know, getting Van Zanted on the back of your board.
Yeah.
You know,
Van Zandt getting yon.
Yeah, yon.
Yeah, you don't forget, and you generally don't fall for it again. Although he still hurts. Even if you are prepared, you're still going to lose lots of guys. So
yeah, now Margo and Duroc can join him for him, and that's just terrifying.
Yeah, exactly.
I've yet to run into it, and I don't want to.
Hey, I'm running that tomorrow. Oh, guys, I'll try to show it on the. I got little Whiz Kid polar bears, baby. Until we get us some Barapodes, I got some polar bears here tomorrow on the channel. I'm facing Nomads, I think. Correct.
Awesome.
I'm gonna run Cosmoflop for my first time, do the Mirage 5 and everything. Looking forward to it. But you know, we were talking that I think that those type of mechanics are even more vicious now, because guys that used to parachute and had to make pre-game decisions of where they were going to enter now don't have to. They literally just get to come in on whatever edge they prefer that is most optimum at that given time besides the deployment zone.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, now the impersonators have been ramped up in their close combat abilities, but Fides themselves got several points cheaper, but several pips of CC better. I noticed you're running 2 Fides and a what is it? Algebel.
Yeah.
I am enjoying making that list, especially now that they're cheaper. Especially now that the DA close combat weapon is on the shock mine profile, which is nice. But yeah, impersonators themselves as well. The greatest strength impersonators have is not the fact they can kill you. It's the threat of the possibility that they can kill you.
Yes.
In my 3 Fide lists, I rarely ever activate more than 1 Fide. The others will either sit on a building and make the opponent stay away from that building, or keep themselves in poor lines of fire to make sure they always have sight to it. But it's the threat that they pose, as opposed to the actual rules that they will utilize to kill you, because they probably won't. I've had entire games where I don't activate my Fides at all 3 of them.
Is that threat the reason that's better than, say, a camo marker, is because of the double layer of discover? Because they can't just say, I discover, so you know that if they discover shoot, they can't discover shoot because there's 2 levels of discover. So you can let them eat those orders, and you might have 2 different guys look at them at the same time, so you kind of wait to see what they're going to do and activate the secondary.
And as opposed to those camo tokens, those impersonation tokens are right at your deployment zone.
Yeah.
So you step a foot outside your deployment zone, you're in their threat range.
And they don't trigger mines either, correct?
They do not trigger mines, no.
Yeah,
right.
Which is fancy.
Or any of the other equipment.
Yeah.
And just great. And like when you do go to activate them, though, it's usually as like, where's your most optimal assassination? Get rid of the pieces of their list that's best at taking apart your list.
What is the softest, squishiest thing they can get to? You're not sending Fides against characters. You're not sending them against killers. You're not sending them against knights. You're sending them against the Devas or the Dakini bots or the
Squishy cheerleader.
Algociles. Yeah. Especially now that they have direct template weapons. That's not good for the Link team at all.
Nope.
Right. Yeah, so that is so what would you kind of suggest for people that are dealing with impersonators on the opposite end? They're trying to fight against the Hakaslam there, or the combined player, the Speculo killer. What's a good way to kind of countermeasure it? What'd you say? Any good? Is it all about the facings and having somebody ready to kill that thing at least? So it's going to kill something, but you're going to kill it, or
just expect for something to die.
Yeah.
I honestly ignore them and just move on with the mission, because if you're doing the mission, they're not. There's no mission that the impersonators can really get done, except maybe a close combat killing mission. But even then, they might be trading themselves for another model. So honestly, usually just ignore them, move on with the game.
Yeah.
Granted, a specula is a harder one. If it's targeting your tag, you might actually want to spend orders to figure out how to get to that speculo. But a Fide is not going after anything big. It's just not going to. Fide doesn't have the punching power to hit a tag. Not even Algebel anymore. Algebel lost a lot of his punching power.
I love sometimes where I've had experience doing this, is keeping a bot close to an impersonator, to where it's just like, okay, I'm gonna jump out and kill your guy. Okay, this bot's gonna dodge engage.
Just to lock it down.
Lock it down.
Yeah.
Another popular one I'm hearing in the Hakusan forum is put a camo token down next to it, like a mine or something. Because usually they're going to be in a corner, so you put a camo token right next to them. They don't actually have enough base movement to get around that camo token without engaging it. So they have to discover the camo token and dodge it to get rid of it. They don't have any other option.
I like that.
Because an impersonator can't touch an enemy token without revealing.
I like that. Okay.
Ooh, okay.
That's nice little number. Nice.
Yeah.
You know, something that, so just as far as new players, I'm a good guinea pig because there's several rules that I'm still really curious about. And that's one that I saw on the WGC conversation lately was hollow projectors. And the ability to, like, there's level 1, level 2, level 1, you can actually mimic other models and you could be something totally different, right? Am I thinking of the right rule? Not hollow projector, but the...
yeah, it's hollow projector. I don't know what it's called now. Yeah.
I think it's the same thing. But yeah, there's level 1, level 2, and level 2 you become like 3 different tokens, right? And they don't know which
The
one's
hollow
which.
projector now is you become 3 tokens. It's like a hollow mask or something.
Hollow
where-
mask, that's right, yeah.
But you can still count as other models, right?
Yep, the hollow mask lets you count as other models.
And do
The hollow projector makes you
Right.
2
And so
or 3
sometimes
of
when
them.
you have the ability to be a hollow projector, you still choose to be the level 1. And right to where you're just like inconspicuous,
Yeah.
or maybe you pose as some real threat that isn't really a threat, right? There's interesting tactics. I find that a neat part of the game, and I think a lot of the allure to that for players that are looking into Infinity is a lot of that neat trickery, the hidden information. It actually feels a lot more like the battles of the mind instead of just luck versus luck and stats versus stats when you can play head games like that. But a lot of the veteran players with hollow projectors I was reading were like, it's not really so much about confusing your opponent, it's more about the surprise attack. Is really what they were saying, is just to be able to get that modification and to safely deliver somewhere without just getting hit.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it as just the surprise attack, walking them into, a hostile situation, and it's taking the chance of like, okay, you're gonna pick the wrong guy to shoot at.
Right.
I'm just gonna keep walking, and
Right.
I'm gonna get to
Use
the
your,
opportune area.
Yeah, use your hollow projections to activate mines and whatnot.
Yeah.
Well, then of course one of the most powerful mechanics, besides like hiding information from your opponent about being some fake model, could be the fact that those hollow projectors also reappear after use if you're not seen at the end of your turn.
Yep.
Which could also mean if you go in suppression, yeah, then you
Yep.
can have 2 fake potential suppression fire guys.
Yeah,
and
when I use my AR, oftentimes, since he is a heavy infantry hackle, I'll oftentimes have him starting in Hollow 1 as a bereaved killer hacker, just to keep other enemy hackers kind of edged away from him, because you don't want to get hit by a bereaved killer hacker whatsoever. So oftentimes, infiltrated hackers or others will try to stay far away from him, which sort of gives him the run of the board when he just activates Hollow 3 and you find out, oh, it's not a breed, it's an AR, and he's now moving up the field.
Yeah, that's hard not to be like hee 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 hee. That's fun.
Yeah, and in deployment now, they don't need to be touching. They just need to be in coherency. So they need to have one hollow echo within the zone of control of another one.
Oh, you can get a lot more tricksy with that
They've
then.
come out pretty far now.
Yeah, because it's tough when you got the 3 markers and like there's the one that's next to cover is usually the actual model. It's like really hard as the player with the hollow projector to put the guy in the middle or on the outside. Brad and I just thought of an instance where you had the hollow projector in our game the other day, Brad. Whenever if you move onto the board, coming and you have hollow projector, your silhouettes wouldn't really block the other silhouettes, would it? At that point?
No.
Because
Silhouettes do not block silhouettes.
whenever you're moving, it would be considered a move onto the board, but otherwise, if they were just standing still, they still wouldn't block each other? What do you think? No?
Nope, they don't.
Okay.
Cool, yeah.
Because the moment you do an offensive action, the hollow echoes disappear. They don't block line of sight.
Yeah, well, let's say that like you move onto the board and here's 3 hollow projectors, then and you're like right on the same edges of them as the board, so you can only see one, and there's two silhouettes.
Yeah, I
the
had the Bashi Bazoo come on
Oh,
board.
the enemy seeing the silhouettes.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, like if I can only see one silhouette, but there's 2 others behind it, can I see through that or no? And I was thinking
You can, because don't forget, when they're all activating, they are not blocking each other's silhouettes for either you or the enemy.
So when they come on the board,
that's counted as
the
you're right.
drop. Okay.
Yeah, but if they
they
still
are moving. It is a
yeah.
move order, yes.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Well-
That's what I was thinking about the other day.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's just hollow projectors are weird, right? I want to run more of them. I just think they're fun. The Aleph, they have like proxies, which is not the same thing, but kind of in a similar sense, right?
Not at all.
No,
not
not
even
at all.
close.
Yeah,
Tell me a little bit about that.
They're troopers. They share an order, or
They are each individual troopers that share a singular order.
right.
Okay.
Whoever is active with that order can do whatever they want. In ARO, if one activates as the active proxy, the other 2 can only dodge or reset. But the one that's active can do any of the normal AROs. But if you do provoke AROs from all of them at once, only one can actually do something offensive. The others have to dodge.
Ugh.
Oh,
That's
okay.
weird. Okay.
Yeah.
So do you gain? Do they only count as a singular unit for that one order? So they don't take up 3 slots.
They don't
No,
take
they
up
don't
3
take up
slots.
3 slots.
That's
they take
awesome.
up 1 slot. Yep.
That's cool. That's the fun part there, I suppose.
Yep. And if one's active, the others are not. So you can use an order on one of them, and it doesn't provoke from the others.
Yeah. See, I reach for this information because it's still the part of the experience I haven't had yet. You know, I just haven't faced these kind of enemies before, and that's the moment that you go and you think you're ready, and you play a lot against your own personal meta, and then you go to a large event, and all of a sudden, oh, here's this weird concept you haven't gone against before. I remember my first time fighting, my very first tournament here at Battlegrounds that Brad's our war core here. I was going against you, Chris, with it was some sort of mimetism marksmanship bot. And it was it was a Dakini, I think. And it was my first time going against marksmanship, a bot with marksmanship and mimetism, and I was like, I'm stuck. I can't fight this thing. And I killed it, and he like engineered it back, I think. I couldn't take it. It was awesome though. It was a great game. I think you won that tournament, didn't you, Chris?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, good job.
I think so. I won one of them.
Yeah, you won that one.
Yeah, I think your Aleph games you usually won.
So Dakini teams, especially when the Apsara was a thing in N3, I mean, that multi-sniper and HMG were just brutal. And their move of 6-4, they can accomplish a ton last turn, even just a paramedic alone. So, 10 inches of movement per order is extremely efficient.
Yeah, I'd say so. I guess, you just made me think about bikes, and what do you guys see yourself running some with the impetuous change? Has that motivated you guys to look at any different units in ways you hadn't before? I feel like I'm looking at the same units just with even better.
I'm tempted to run Carmen, but my old Coom list was like 20 orders. And that was because the Coom were cheap to begin with, and now they're even cheaper. So I have no idea how I would actually run an effective Coom list that had any sort of staying power.
I would definitely run the Kuroshi Rider now in JSA, at least to try it out. I have not at this point, but she's got Forward Observer and Martial Arts.
She got a lot better.
Yeah, so, and I think the points stayed the same. So I don't know, she's Lieutenant order plus Impetuous order plus her own regular order. I mean, she's pretty efficient.
I think a specialist bike is what I'm motivated by right now. I saw a little bit of talk on the forums and things, and people were talking about how much they like in Ariadna, they run it's a 112 biker.
Yep.
And just because they're like, think of it just sitting in the back on turn 3, and then all of a sudden, like, you've cleared all the threats, take that 8-4 move and just haul ass to the objective and pop that button.
Yeah, he's pretty good now, I think.
Pretty cheap. It's like 18 points to have a specialist on a bike doing 12 inches in a move, you know.
I'm just
Yeah,
lazy.
and
and won't
Carmen's
run a bike.
17 and objectively better.
She's a specialist operative as well?
Carmen, yeah, she's a specialist at murdering people.
Yeah.
Well, fair.
She's a spiker that now has booty, so she gets to roll on that table before she's even down. She's 17 points. She comes with Batard, who's a antipode auxiliary unit.
Oh, I mean, Carmen
now has an
Carmen
AP
took Maggie
weapon.
out in a game I played recently. Carmen just literally threw smoke down and walked up and smacked Maggie down.
Yeah, she's also Fizz 14 with a DA weapon and like martial arts level 2. She's
it's like crit.
actually sick.
All right, you're dead.
Yeah, especially now, it's just she rolls, hey, I've got an HMG on booty, let's have fun.
No kidding, yeah. Yeah, and the booty chart is definitely a little bit more saucy than it used to be. I think you can get -6 mimetism now. Well, there's no level 1, level 2. It's just all booty.
It's just one,
chart. Yeah.
They took all the good ones from both charts and combined them.
Yeah, so sometimes you're like, whoa, I've never had that before on this model. You know, speaking of irregular impetuous, I'm really excited to run William Wallace in Cosmoflot tomorrow. Dude, like, we have a nice cheap chain of command, so I'm like ready to get him killed. I got him in a nice...
Cosmoflots, Ariadna's greatest hits is sectoral.
Yeah,
pretty much.
I feel like I'm just like, all right, here's your link team, William, and then Barapodes, let's go. That's like the whole, it's so sacrificial. Like, I have nothing but chain rifles and bears.
Did they get chasseurs in Cosmoflot or no?
What'd you say?
Did they get chasseurs in Cosmoflot?
I don't think we got chasseurs in.
No.
No.
Daggone it.
Yeah.
You should definitely run a T2 Cataran sniper.
I have one.
Yeah.
I do have one actually.
Yeah.
Well, he's irregular, and William turns it regular as well.
Yep,
So.
and he'll do work. Use him on active turn too.
Oh, for sure.
yeah.
He's cheap too. Yeah.
Yep, that surprise attack is pretty useful.
Yep. That's what makes him. That's what makes that active turn shooting work. Really, I think, particularly without a link team bonus. That's like, it's almost like he's in a link team bonus at that point.
Yeah, with the Caledonians, I ran 2 or 3 of them whenever possible, and coordinated order attack with them against something. It's probably going to die.
Yeah, I was surprised to learn that with inspiring leadership skill that you can do a coordinated order for free with the lieutenant order.
Yep.
Like,
That's
whoa. That was an N3 thing as well, huh?
Yep.
Yeah, super cool. What's crazy is the in Cosmoflot, I'm still running like a ridiculous like 20 some order list with only 15 units because of all the impetuous irregular. It's 7 irregular and it's like 7 impetuous. So that 15 plus 7 right there, you're at 22 or some shit, you know? It's crazy. I was like, dang, this is gonna be fun. So I'm just gonna spam trade ups. It's like either I'm fighting you with a Barapode or I'm taking a 9-point model and chain rifling you. Or they have Berserk. Like everybody has Berserk around there. It's like, what are the Varangians, I guess, I never ran before. They have, is it they're the one with Berserk or am I thinking, yeah.
I think so.
I don't know.
They are, yeah. Yeah, I got to pull up their army builder, but yeah, it's hilarious. Just like the core team that William runs in, they're just like they're just 9-point models with chain rifles and Berserk CC 23 or some shit. I'm like, great. I'm just gonna move a link team up and then just charge everybody. And apparently, in 3, I was reading this last night about how you could do coordinated order Berserks, but in N4, I guess if you get into the minutia of the bullet points, you can't do a coordinated Berserk in N4. Have you guys been familiar with a coordinated
I
Berserk?
wouldn't know. I know Berserk. I know about how it works, but I don't know the details of why.
Well, more in N3, did you ever? Was that ever something?
Well, that was the assault thing where you would charge or whatever.
Yeah,
I never saw
Berserk
it.
just lets you make a CC attack unopposed.
In N3, and in N4 now it's assault combined with the N3 Berserk rule, right?
Yeah.
Which is to charge both you take both your move profiles and then can CC. Yeah, I guess there's people talking because like Cosmoflot, they have like several Berserk units that can even link together, and so I guess there was a large, you know, how those forum posts get, where there's a lot of different people commenting on why they think you can do a coordinated order with Berserk. It felt like the most the brightest answers that rose to the top of the cream that rose to the top, if you will, was the that you can't. But interesting and exciting. I mean, I guess if you get free coordinated orders with lieutenant actions, you want to know what you're able to coordinate. You know?
Definitely.
Hell yeah, I would coordinate berserk some shit. I guess the trick too that with berserk is, you know, that's such a cool rule, but the trick is that you can't do it unless you have line of sight to the enemy. So a big
Yes,
thing
that's nothing new.
right. With the active turn dodge, the trick to be able to get around the ARO resolution is to dodge into the line of sight and then assault in the next order. So you don't just like get into line of sight, get ARO. There's lots of ways to do that, but that's one way you could if you're like just a CC monster only kind of thing. I thought that was neat.
I mean, you could dodge line of sight, or if on the active turn you're just moving in and shooting. If they don't die, then assault.
Yeah. That always works too. But if you
Yeah.
want to guarantee that you assault and not have a firefight, especially if they have multiple ARO presences that you don't think you're going to win a firefight on at all, then you could just hide, dodge into line of sight, charge with the assault move.
I really feel like assault, or I guess berserk now, is
Yeah.
more of a trap than it is a useful ability.
Yeah.
It's very much a last resort, but if you do it, you're going a distance and you're going to be copping a lot of AROs.
Yeah.
Normally these berserk models are also very good gunfighters, so I don't see a reason for assaulting
A
if you
Cosmoflot.
can just shoot them.
I mean, sure, like you got a link team and whatever, but they're just chain rifles. They're BS-10, and so like you could always do that. But otherwise, they're CC bad. They're way better at CC, and they're 9 points. So if you're going into a 20-some point model or whatever, then I'm pretty happy to trade up those kind of points most of the time. But that's me not playing the mission either. I'm always trying to kill some shit. I get way too bloodlusty, so don't listen to me very.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, Varangians don't have smoke. So they're
No, they
really
don't.
relying on everyone else. They've got dogged, and I think they're good at dodging. But
Yes.
getting them there is going to be, pun intended, a bear.
Good one. Zach with the dad jokes. Classic. I'm getting out my list because now I'm curious about all the things. But I'm excited to run this list, so I hope that people tune in tomorrow to see some Cosmoflot action, hopefully. It's real straightforward. I don't think I can really mess it up. It's just tally-ho charge kind of thing. Besides the Duroc thing coming in with the deployment combat jump. Oh, so tell me about that. The guy has controller, right? The Mirage 5. I don't know if you guys have looked at the profile. I'm going to pull it up.
Hold on, that might
No,
have changed.
it's not controller. They're just a team that function
That's-
independently,
yeah, I was
similar
thinking.
to Scarface and Cordelia. You purchase them together, but they're two separate entities.
Okay, yeah. I'm thinking of the Polaris team then. You basically
Yeah,
have
the Polaris team. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's a controller one.
And it was just like, because it just said controller and not peripheral control, it was throwing me off a little bit. And I'm pretty sure it works just like an antipode, like an assault pack. You have the controller,
Yeah.
you have the other guy. They don't have to be in zone of control or anything.
I believe that's the way that works. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems that way. Okay, that makes all the sense then. That'll be the easy thing. What's crazy is these Baropods have this climbing plus. They're like, they don't have super jump, they just climb over everything really crazy.
Really?
Oh,
Yeah.
so quick tangent on the Baropods and the Polaris teams that you'll enjoy, George.
Okay.
You need to take a look at their backgrounds.
Okay.
So apparently they are super illegal, even on Ariadna. Basically the Ariadnan intelligence was like, hey, we need something crazy that's better than these antipodes. We've heard tale of these werebears up in the far north. What if we spliced these genes together and got them under control, but also sacrificed a bunch of people to make it happen?
Whoa.
And they're like, well, okay, but I think we'll not be happy with the international community will not be happy with this. They're like, yeah, but the nomads don't care. So let's just go talk to the Black Labs of Praxis in Bakunin, and maybe they'll be on board. And of course, those mad scientist assholes were super on board with it.
That's
So
awesome.
they got some backing from there. This was super hush hush, even amongst the Ariadnan high command. Not many knew about it. This was a secret thing being done. And then when Castilian was attacked and Cosmoflot was created, O12's like, guys, we need help. We need all the help we can get. And they're like, hey, you might not like this, but we do have these bear pod guys. And O12's like, we'll just pretend I didn't hear that for the time being and say, oops, suddenly werebears are on Concilium, and we won't talk about it. Lo and behold, Aleph, Hakazan, Pano, Yujing, and several nomad nations are not happy about it. But everyone's getting attacked by aliens, and so they're like, we'll just leave that for later. Pro tip, though, no one left is in the high command that knew about this because Assassins happened.
Oh, man. That's
The Assassins
awesome.
destroyed the entire Black Lab that was associated with this, and everyone involved who was in the companies that was involved with this. all of the boards are destroyed by Fidesz.
Dude, that's so cool. And I'm playing Nomads tomorrow. Funny enough, there's a freak show in the lab, freak accident, Barapods on the loose.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
I guess when you have aliens already inside your house, you're like, I don't care, just send whatever you've got.
Yeah, seems like sound logic to me. That makes me even more excited. I can't
Your
wait
hat's
till
really relevant for this.
Yeah, I got a bear in my hat. Come on. I'm ready. Yeah, I'm gonna gotta get this whiz kid guy. Luckily, he's already white and he's a polar bear, so I mean, I just gotta give him like a tongue and some eyeballs, and I'm there. He's on the right base and everything. This little whiz kid mini. I'm pretty well. Yeah, I think so.
It looks like
A
it.
big old 50 mil or whatever. I'm excited to see the actual sculpts, man. And November's right around the corner for all kinds of new stuff.
Tag-vember.
Yeah.
Goodness, yeah, 4 tags at once. That's crazy.
I'm excited. Enforce in our community here, and I wonder, we'd love to hear from you guys out there about what's going on around your neck of the woods. We've had a lot of new players jump on board, and so I'm excited because I think we're going to see a lot of these tags as everyone that's playing all these new armies are like, we have a new Yujing player just for the Blue Wolf, obviously. We have a new Pano player just for the Cutter. The Cutter is a sweet skull. We got a new O12 player.
It's a lot better.
He wants
So
to use
much
that
better.
Yeah, I'm pumped. I mean, hell, I'm playing Cosmoflock because of the Bears. Let's go. The new sculpts definitely can drive some new players into the game, but I think the new rule set's done a great job as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of new stuff, guys, I
yes.
found out before we got on that Micro Art Studios hit us up, and they want to send us a full-blown terrain set.
Oh, wow.
Yes,
I must have missed that message.
I am going to throw it up on the screen right now, but it's the full-blown District 5, they call it the Full Experience bundle. And they have a red and a blue set, and they're going to send us an intermixed set of the red and blue pre-painted terrain from Micro Art Studios.
Sweet.
Nice.
I'm super pumped, and that was cool. They reached out like, hey, we're like, the terrain makers for Corvus Belli. We like your YouTube content. I was like, oh, that feels amazing. So
Because you're reaching out and touching people.
they touched me.
Yeah.
They touched me real good.
We got an extra table for the store.
Yeah, it's going to be great for one, the content, and then two,
That's
for
awesome.
the events that we
Yeah.
can do. So I'm
Yeah.
excited, really excited about that, and look forward to that coming up.
All right, when's our next event, George?
When is our next event? Vaccine.
Right?
It's real painful not playing.
God, I know, man. I miss you guys.
I'm scratching my conversion itch a lot, but I'm converting all these models and I can't use them.
Yeah, get the hobby in
It's
there.
all the Toha's fault. It's obviously Toha's fault.
It's a Toha pathogen, I believe it.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fair. It's fair. It's fish
It's
people.
like, yeah, I mean, I love playing the games here, but I miss an ITS event. Like,
Yeah. Man,
I miss playing in general.
I forget the name. It was the Concilium something, but the ITS tournament that happened in New Zealand that was covered recently.
Yeah.
That was just like drool. Look at them all without masks. I can't believe that they can like hang out with people like normal. What the hell? I was definitely ooh and ahhing just at the thought of that. There was a cool video I watched just to give a shout out to this other content creator called the Infinity Gamer. I don't know if you guys ever ran into him, but he's a newer creator, came from a 40K background, only has like 2,000 subs right now, but he just makes a really humble guy that he really told his story from beginning to going to his first tournament. His first big ITS tournament was that New Zealand tournament, and he found it like he signed up for it before even learning Infinity all the way. He just knew that there was a game for him. And it's funny because I was watching his content and a lot of his videos, he's getting his ass kicked and he's like learning the rules as he goes, and he has some really great vets that are showing him the ropes and everything. But I can respect somebody that has the humility to be able to get their ass kicked on camera and make content anyways. And he got to show his story as he went all the way to that first New Zealand tournament. He does a great walkthrough where he talks about the different organizers and the work that went into it and what his experience was as a first-time Infinity gamer going to his first tournament. You guys basically gave me that same experience going to the Baltimore Brawl here on the East Coast. That was my first major Infinity event, and it was something to be said about seeing that many Infinity tables. Like, part of the game that's so alluring is the terrain and the amazing immersion that each board can have. And that was definitely a jaw dropper with all those boards and all those great players, great people. That's one thing about Infinity is the people are great,
Yeah, the Infinity is the first game I played that I went to tournaments not for the tournaments, but the people. I went for the socialization aspect, meeting everybody there. And the games are secondary. I go to tournaments now just so I can get more than one game in a single day. Whether I win or lose, I don't care. At least I'm there playing. At least I'm there having a game.
And you get cool prizes no matter where you place.
Yeah,
typically.
And the great thing about Infinity is it doesn't matter where you place. You're walking home with something.
Yeah.
I go for the patches and no one takes the patches.
Yeah, and that's because Corvus Belli actually supports their scene with the actual, they write the tournament packets. They have a world event that leads up to it. They track all the scores and everything. It's awesome. I love all that aspect of it too. It's great to. I wish people that would more redefine their mentality of what a tournament is, to be guaranteed games and prize support. That essentially is what it is to me. It's like you're playing for prizes, hopefully, but you're hoping to have great games and meet great people.
Yeah, and it's just like, I just like seeing people that it's like, oh man, I like hanging out with you guys, but I see you all the time, like,
new people.
Yeah.
Wilson, Thor. It's
Wilson,
like, come
Lewis,
on.
Thor, the whole crowd up there. They're great people.
Yeah.
Yep, a lot of good people up there.
I enjoyed going to the seafood restaurant the night before far more than actually playing the games. That was a fun time.
That was awesome.
Yeah, we need to go there next year.
Heck yeah.
If that-
I was sad when Baltimore Brawl was canceled. I was expecting it to be, but still sad.
Yeah.
Hopefully we'll be back up. We'll be back up next year.
Yep.
Definitely.
Man, I had a full itinerary I was trying to get my second taste. For one, there was Adepticon, and then I was really, really praying for Nova. So many cool events were going to go down at Nova Open, and that's another, big location that's in our neck of the woods, hell, closer to Baltimore even. So I'd love to rally there.
It's a bit more expensive than Baltimore because you need a con ticket as well.
Yeah, but man, it's an experience. It's a good time.
I hope everything clears up because I want to go to Interplanetario. Like,
Is that the one in Spain? Is that
Yeah.
the one?
I would love to get out there one of these years in the future. That would be wonderful.
For sure.
I do want to go.
Yep. Yeah, I
I
would
want
love
to go to potentially the Las Vegas Open or some of those other ones out west.
Yeah, Rumble and Route 66.
Yeah, Rumble.
Vegas.
Rumble. I'd love to go.
That's apparently one of the biggest ones
Rumble
in
would
the
be a
US,
good one.
right?
It's like
It's the biggest
it
one
is
in the
the
world.
yeah,
it's
Yeah.
200 players. It's huge.
It is the biggest. End
Yeah.
of discussion.
That's fantastic. Well, we're slowly collecting our own terrain thanks to MicroArt Studios and anyone else out there that wants to reach out. Death Ray Designs, looking at you. I would love to be able to host that kind of. Battlegrounds is a fantastic store. I mean, we have so much space here.
Battlegrounds has the space for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
We just have to plan it.
Yep.
That's all there is to it.
I mean, I
we started
did the
having
math.
some good names.
I think we could probably hold 60 tables, 4x4s.
Oh man, yeah, that's 100.
Probably, yeah.
I mean, I've
60 tables?
not
Yeah.
tables, maybe people.
Four by-
I think people, yeah.
Well, you'd have to really make it cramped at that point. I've had for 40K 6x4 tables.
I
I've
think-
had 32 tables in here.
I think 80 people.
Oh yeah,
would definitely.
yeah, you could do that.
Would
Yeah.
be doable.
40
comfort
4x4s
space.
is definitely doable. It's a large space for friends that don't know. People should come visit Battlegrounds. It's the greatest game store on earth. Come on now.
Lots of Infinity selection.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And we're
They still have Capu boxes available.
come on now. The stock has been getting picked through though because we got so many new players jumping.
Yeah,
on board.
it's
It's
Yeah, I've
crazy.
been trying to get over there to pick up a couple models for conversion. The old ones are all going away.
yeah.
yeah. Some of the old blister, I don't want to to say aisles, but like, you know, the hangars that they're on are empty now.
Things are
Like,
picked clean.
Yeah.
Because every faction's like, I'm gonna play Eugene, I'm gonna play Ariadna, I'm gonna play.
well, it's
O12,
crazy. I mean, I'm not talking trash about new players, but it's just like, you know, when I came in, it's like, okay, I'm gonna start playing Ariadna, and I played that for like 6 months, and it's like I'm seeing new players. It's like, okay, I'm gonna get into this army, and then next week it's like I'm got 2 more, and I'm like, whoa, hold on. Like,
It's the GW thing, man. It's because a lot of the players are transferring over from GW, and they're like, "You're telling me I can get a whole I can get 3 armies for the price of a half an army."
Modern times starting Infinity is so much better than it was in N2. I remember N2, I picked up Aleph and faced Mike the Bolt twice, and then no one else showed up for 4 months, and then found Mike again in his garage, and we had another game, and that was my entire starting to Infinity.
Yeah, that's it.
And then we didn't even, I wasn't even really a huge player until Drew started actually bringing folks to the shop, and we actually had a coherent night for Infinity.
He gave me my first demo game. Yeah, for anybody that's hearing this element of this. If you want to play Infinity and don't have someone in your community, it has to start with you. You know, somebody has to you got to pick 2 or 3 people that are willing to go on the journey with you, and somebody has to read the rules in depth enough to be able to hold it down for when you're playing the games, and start it somewhere. It's got to start somewhere. You know. I mean, heck, whenever in Forvin, like the store opened back up and we just started playing Infinity again in the store, it's just like me, Brad, and Jonathan, just the 3 of us, and slowly starting to trickle in with more folks joining in. And now that N4's dropped and everything, I can't wait till we can actually all get together, and we probably have some of the biggest events we've had with once the store can reopen again.
that's the goal.
Yeah, man, we usually, for anyone wondering, the Battlegrounds area, we pull, 12 people is like a big time, a good one. Like we're 8 to 12 people is probably the general tournament turnout for Infinity.
No.
You less?
No,
No,
12.
eight is the high one, yeah.
12, it was the biggest one that we've done. Next to that, like,
I was trying to
2
give it a little bit of, I'm trying to bolster
but
it.
like, yeah, I was happy. It's like, oh, I got the tournament at like 6 people.
Yeah.
This is cool.
It's tough. It's tough. It's never been easier than to learn this game than ever before. And I think that teaching several people over the last few weeks, one of the things that I've came to terms with, I'm so glad the wiki has gone live.
Yeah.
That
Absolutely.
is great for new players. It was essential to me learning. But you have to read. You got to read a little bit. There's a lot of you can do in repetition in this game, as far as remembering this is that and this is that. But I mean, you won't get to that next level if you don't get kind of a little bit more intimate with the rule set. And it's cool how they write them. It's very. I don't think comparatively to GW games, my background, the bullet pointed system is pretty interesting. They usually here's the rule, and here's all the ways that you can do it, and here's all the ways that it doesn't work anymore. It's very to the point. It's very good. We got to read. So I guess that's all I'm getting at is the learning curve is not what it was. It's not as high as much as it used to be. It's easier than before, for sure, for anybody that was scared of that. And that's if you were to look around online, or the general opinion to any game store you walk into, especially ones that don't actually play the game, they'd be like, yeah, the learning curve is high. That's going to be the first thing they try to warn you of. It's easier now.
Yeah, the learning curve was slightly flattened. It's not quite a cliff face anymore. It's more of a steep scree, but it still has the high peak that it has, but it's a lot easier to start climbing it than it was before.
That's a good way to say it. Yeah. I think it's definitely
There's a high skill ceiling with Infinity.
yeah.
I think it's easy to pick up on.
What was that?
I think it's easy to pick up on, like 3 to 4
Yeah.
games. It's like you have a good understanding of it, but it's like,
It's all the interactions that could happen, and
Yeah.
and when somebody does bring a powerful piece, knowing all the different, I found that newer players will struggle on how to that thing has -6 mimetism, and they'll just deadlock. I don't know what to do anymore, Obviously CC is an answer, or a chain rifle, or that thing has a template weapon. They don't
Or hidden deployment.
Yeah.
Like what? You have a guy? What do you mean? What am I gonna do? I'm gonna walk over here. Are you sure? Yeah, I'm sure. All right, I'm gonna reveal this guy. You're like,
What do you mean you have a guy there? And then the first time they reveal a cutter. What do you mean you have a massive robot hiding in the middle of nowhere?
Exactly.
But, yeah, the -6 to hit, though, it's like, I remember my first game was against Zach, and he played Steel Phalanx, and I'm like, what is this, like, this ODD? This is stupid. Like,
Or just mass camo.
and then, like, you know, 2 months into it, I'm like, oh, man, I got a flamethrower. I can deal with this. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Not anymore though, right? I think
Not anymore.
no, it doesn't go away, sadly.
It doesn't burn away, but the people do.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
heck, boarding shotguns have template mode now,
Yeah.
so whatever. Or shotguns in general. Yeah.
People were complaining about mutts before. Just you wait till you go against that 9-point mutt with the E merit and boarding shotgun.
Yeah.
Have fun with that. What's your choice? Oh, I'll dodge. Okay, here's 2 shotgun shots. I'll shoot back. Okay, here's 2 template damage 14s. Have fun with that.
Yep. Either way, I'm winning.
When all else
Yeah.
fails, drop a mine.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
dropping mines, did it change? Like, it used to be that you could ARO a mine drop even out of line of fire, but now you have to be able to see the enemy to drop the mine? Or there was something I feel like's changed with dropping mines in ARO now. No,
Not mine.
same deal.
It's still zone of control.
So if they come within your zone of control, even out of line of fire, you can drop a mine as a response.
No, you can't
You have
do
to be
anything
within
out of
line
line
of
of
sight.
fire.
You have to have line of sight.
Line of sight.
And that's
You
just
always
all-
had to have line of sight.
You always had to be that way.
Unless it's a zone of control skill.
Now, but that's
Yeah.
only for ARO. Otherwise, you can just lay it wherever you want. So you could like go to a corner out of their line of fire and drop it at the corner, and then now they move and they get hit. Yeah, yeah. I mean, heck, that's just like when we say that high skill ceiling. There, you can literally be skilled at using mines. The practice of mine layers and forward deployment and infiltration that's a skill in itself. And I know as being from the either using it or going against it are both like 2 different elements of skills that you build. How do you diffuse the mines and the camo tokens, and how do you set them yourself? You know? And in Brad and I's games, he always is dropping mines in a weird way where I'm like, I did not expect that, damn it. And now I got problems. Always a surprise.
Even if you know it's a mine, it's still something you have to work around.
Yep.
Yeah.
And they always got that -3 to the dodge. But that is something I've been realizing, I've been working on as a skill, is like when I've been enjoying as a defensive mechanism bringing multiple mine layers, let's say 2 or 3 mine layers, you know? And you have to be careful to not put the mines in such a way that they're all gonna blow up at once. Because then just one little cheap piece like goes in like, okay, all 3 activate, I dodge. No biggie. You know, they just
Even if I die, whatever.
Yeah, they just took care of all 3 mines that you paid for. That was your whole defense, you know. So I try to cascade them now so they don't all trigger at the same time, and that takes a little bit of finesse.
Spread them out, layer them.
Yeah.
It's like you set one off, you move another 4 inches, you're gonna set another one off.
Yep.
You know.
I mean, heck, even just like we talk about mind games, usually it's like there's only so much to do there. But like when it comes to it's very easy when you deploy to kind of reveal that you're putting 2 things within zone of control of each other. And if you have multiple mine layers, you're putting down, like Ariadna, you take 3 straight lock mine layers, that's 9 camo tokens with forward deployment level +8. So if you put those down with the right kind of finesse, it makes it really hard to tell who's the decoy, who's not. But like one of the things that you learn is that as soon as you can't put mines and decoys prone. So if you start putting camo tokens prone, you're starting to reveal who the guy is and who's the potential decoy, all based on what kind of zone of control everything's within. So just manipulating, putting mine layers down and camo tokens to try to hide who is the actual enemies and who's not, because the whole defensive mechanism is that you're eating their orders, and if they can easily tell what's what, you're not going to achieve that very well, you know.
Yeah, camo games are much meaner now that you don't have sniffers anymore.
Yeah, and the change to crazy koalas, or those little equipments that used to follow you around.
Yeah.
They don't really follow you anymore. That you now essentially like deploy them.
Yeah.
So you can't use those to tag your hidden mines and stuff like that.
Yeah, we found that
that's
out. I
true.
was sad about that. I'm like, because I was looking at that Hulang with
But-
crazy koalas. I'm like, man, this is awesome. And I'm like, they don't follow you around. Shit. Like,
But you can kind of more aggressively use them now.
yeah.
So
Yes, you can.
I think they're better on an active turn basis for sure.
I think they're in a better place now
Yeah.
than they were. They're more that you can utilize them more.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I hadn't had to go against too many in my time besides the is it Yojimbo that rides the bike? Or am I
Yeah, Yojimbo.
Yep. And he had
Yojimbo, Oyuroi.
Yep, I remember those guys running at me, and you're like, not only is this crazy martial arts guy on a motorcycle running at me, but there's these damn crazy koalas jumping on my face.
Because I don't think you were playing when I was playing Corregidor. Yeah.
Yeah, those are a pain in the ass though, and I personally, because I never ran them, I've already gone against them. I'm like, yay, they're less good. But sorry, Brad. Yeah, that's just but like you guys said, maybe they're in a little bit better place. There was times where they could
They're real good at taking out those link team arrows now, though. Because they have to do is sneak a guy up within 8 inches of the guy, or not even within 8 inches, within 14 inches. Deploy it out to 8 inches from you, which is right next to the link team, and then you're like, okay, I'm gonna go activate against this link team now. What you want to do? Because your sniper's gonna get blown up by a koala.
Yeah, that is pretty sweet. What happens whenever there's multiple targets that could be hit? Do you just does the person
choose.
the mine mine person chooses
Yep.
with the mine? Okay. Yeah, I was curious about that. And then I guess like mines, maybe Crazy Koala is a little bit of a weirder one, but they have what's considered a direct template, so you have to really like center the blast down the target. I've been trying. I just remember in the template section they talk about direct template, and they had a line going right down the middle of the teardrop, and showing how you had to really center that over the target if it's a direct template, and a mine operates that way.
Huh.
I don't know anything about that.
It might be something to look into then. I just basically think you can't get too froggy with it. Like you can't be like, well, I could hit 2 guys if I angled it this way. I think you literally have to center it over the main target that you choose. And only then if it hits peripheral targets do they actually get hit. You can't kind of manipulate that it's going to hit 2 guys. You have to literally center it over someone.
I mean, that would make sense.
Right.
We'll have to look at it.
It's a little detail though.
Yeah, it's something to look at.
I don't know. I haven't read that.
Yeah, it's in one of the diagrams where there's a line going right down the center. So something, yeah, I'm glad to bring it up then. I'll look closer.
Yeah, I
at it
don't
as
read
well.
rules.
Yeah, I really enjoy knowing the rules well, you know. I don't know. I like to have those mental checklists of like, okay, cool, I've learned that. I know that now, you know. It helps, like, I guess when for me, especially streaming, is where that's when you're in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And I don't want to slow down, and I don't want to look up rules while on camera, and I really want to play live. And so the more that I just know as instinct and like, oh yeah, that, you know, the better, you know.
Yeah.
So I take a lot of pride in trying to learn well for a better viewing experience. So Eric Brockman out there said he's already bought his Sekban. I think he was referring to something earlier. I'm not sure what the Sekban is. S-E-K.
The Sekban naval unit, that's the Kapukalki medium infantry that have 360 visors and are core link.
Nice.
Or Harris link. Yeah, they're pretty nice. I'm really looking forward to seeing if Kapukalki changes at all in November.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll be excited for all the sectorials that we don't have right now to come back, just because the game feels a little light without it.
Does it really though?
Yeah, I want to look at, because like, well, I guess that's really the only thing we're missing out of Hassassin, right? I'm trying to think of some other things I've gone to that weren't there, but no, I guess there's
Akon's not there, Neoterra's not there.
military orders are still a thing right now. Yeah.
Hey, if
Yeah, so that's
Merovingia
not
looks
there.
interesting, I'll dive back in.
Is Aleph there right now?
Aleph is there, yeah,
Aleph's
but Steel Phalanx is not there,
Which is their sectorial, right?
which is their Greek sectorial.
Yeah. Is that that's their only sectorial though? Yeah.
No, they have OSS,
Oh, okay. Cool.
yeah, or the Vedic sectorial.
I know you guys were joking, but I've heard you guys joking before about like, was O12 the mistake, or was Aleph, like, is Aleph, O12 going to be inside of Aleph, or Aleph? I've seen rumors.
No, Aleph is inside of O12. O12 exists. Bureau Aegis, I think, is the overseer of Aleph. but Aleph was also built by Pano, so it's kind of a weird mix-up there of how they work. But essentially, Aleph gets all the surplus from O12. So essentially, O12 was there first, and then Aleph was created, and O12 funds and supports Aleph.
Makes sense, yeah. Do you think that there's any? Do they belong as two individual factions? Like they shouldn't have ever been like swallowed into one. Where
No, they are individual factions.
Yeah.
Bureau Thoth. Tanako Skylar, thank you. Bureau Thoth.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they oversee Aleph as an entity, but Aleph is an entity.
Okay.
That is separate from O12, but yeah, they are furnished by O12, which is why you see the same weapons between them.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think that's neat. I was just starting to realize how the Riot Stopper is something that's kind of sprinkled all throughout the O12 as the anti-non-lethal weaponry to shut
Stop
people down.
resisting.
Yeah. If you want to use Riot Stopper, you want to use glue templates, go get the O12. Pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting once we start seeing more sectorals from O12. If they're going to add any of the bureaus as separate sectorals, and how that will work. The Hakazan was kind of salty that Saladin got taken back to O12, regardless of the fact that he's not actually Hakazanite, he is O12.
He had been like kind of brainwashed into what's that little story?
Saladin is a recreation by Aleph. He was created as a tactical mastermind for O12 in the human sphere, but he was then loaned to Hakazan as a means of persuading Hakazan to say, hey, yeah, Aleph is okay. They're not here to be an enemy to you, because Hakazan was very much opposed to Aleph, simply because they saw Aleph as a replacement humanity, when Hakazan, of course, wants to better humanity. They saw Aleph as kind of the wrong way. But over time, Saladin has, of course, gained the trust of Hakazan. The Old Man of the Mountain does keep a assassin over his shoulder forever. Even now that he's been called back to O12, the assassin still does follow him, the Fide. He is an actual character. I don't remember what his name is, but he's been mentioned once or twice as Saladin's quote-unquote shadow that always follows him. Essentially, if Saladin proves himself at all an enemy of humanity, then Assassin kills him.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because the comment, Saladin is an untrustworthy robot person.
Yeah.
Yes, but Saladin in N4 has definitely gained the trust of Hakazan, and Hakazan, to the high command of Hakazan, was very unhappy that O12 has requested Saladin back under their command now that the Combined Army has breached Concilium.
Yeah, we got.
There's a great short story about the beginning of the retaking of the space elevators in the N4 rulebook.
That's awesome, man. I always love hearing the lore. It gets me inspired to want to go read it, and then I just should go read more rules and open the wiki. But damn it, I need to read the lore. And I want to learn more about the Barapode thing. Is hilarious. Oh my gosh. I love talking about and McMurder, where he sobered up and joined the Hakazan there. Is hilarious too. But we're going to tell more stories to come.
McMurder has not joined Hakazan.
Or what was it?
The Shot.
The Shot. Which,
the Shot, yeah.
They have Hawk in it. Yeah, excuse me.
I mean, yeah, it's a Hakazan company.
Yeah,
but
it's the real Hakazan. I mean,
I mean, it was a Hassassin Lasik that made McMurder via an experimental special round that is still a mystery in the background of why the Hassassin sniper shot him with this special round and forced the transformation he's into now. That's a big mystery that they've never really dove into.
That's so cool.
Basically, if there's any mysteries or weirdness in the universe, apparently it just revolves Hakazan. That's just all I'm learning. Because also the Hassassin Govad saved the human sphere one time. That's a story.
No big deal. No big deal. Hey, did you guys ever hear about those Barapodes? Shh. No. They've always been around.
They've always been around. Ignore the murder at the upper levels. There's new management material in town.
Yeah.
we have upper recruitment going on now.
Yeah, exactly. But yo, we'll save more stories for next time we hit the hour. It's been awesome hanging out. We've had a nice crowd hanging with us the whole time. Eric, Alex, Tanako, really appreciate you guys tuning in. Did they ever explain how McMurdo got his Templar sword? Ooh. We'll have to
yes. Yes.
ahead.
There was a Templar that escaped the Purge. We don't know his name, but we know he was there when McMurdo was recovering from the round that hit him from the Assassin Laseek. And the AI of the Templar sword favored him, because Templar swords do have minor AIs within them. They have a personality. They have thought and knowledge, and that's one of the reasons why the Templars were more than excommunicated. But yeah, the Templar met him during that time and passed his sword off to him, and then disappeared into the ether.
That's so cool. Oh man, I love how universal and how many different kind of fusions of lores are built into the Infinity backdrop, and it's not just kind of like old school gothic white people stuff.
Yeah, Tanaka, that's right. DeFerson's the only one because he had plausible deniability. They couldn't find something to stick him with because they're like, well, I guess you weren't really into this, so you're fine for now.
So McMurdo has a wildly illegal magic sword if anyone figures it out.
Yes, McMurdo has a widely illegal magical sword.
That's awesome. Antipodes for the win. But yeah, let's rock it out for tonight. We're gonna be back every other Sunday, so not next Sunday, but the Sunday after. We'll make a post and stuff to let you know what's going down. Tomorrow you can see Cosmoflot versus Corregidor, I believe, in the morning about noon, and we can see some of these polar bears, see what they can do. Try to run the Mirage 5. But it was awesome hanging out, everybody. Yeah. Friends at home, thank you so much. Keep taking fun seriously, and we'll catch you here next time. Peace.